more than one.
There's multiple names of God. Because God is sometimes called Jews don't pronounce it the Tetram. I don't know how to. Yeah. So that we describe it when God is He's merciful. So when God acts in different ways, the Bible uses different
ways. I believe
names of God.
I believe as a Hebrew is very similar to Arabic language.
Yeah.
Sometimes the plural being used to show the mighty of God. Because what we know, even in the Bible, Moses was referred as Elohim. But we know that there's one Moses, not 5 Moses. But I just want to clarify to the people that the Christians all the time come to the Muslims and they say to the Muslims, you don't worship the same God as us Christians speaking and the Jews. But when you ask the Jews say we don't even believe Jesus as a prophet, let alone to believe as God. So why the Christians keep licking the feet of the Jews to make them feel like they worship the same God? Side point. I want to ask you, James, Samuel, Samuel, you know, as a Muslim, I believe in the Torah. However, Allah mentioned to us in the Quran that the people of the book, which is the Yahud, changed the Torah. Yes? Okay. First of all, before we go to that, let me ask you a question. Is God perfect?
Yes.
You and I and the Christian here, all of us we believe God is perfect. Okay. Now I want to ask you something. Of course, there's no doubt about that.
Well, whatever. Maybe Christians don't. But
me and you forget. That's me and you today. I want to have a nice dialogue which everyone can benefit with the Yehudi. As a Muslim and a Jew, we believe God is perfect. Regretting when you regret something. Is it for perfection or imperfection? When you regret something,
from imperfection.
No doubt about it. Because why? Imagine I chose my brother to be my king. Then when he start killing my kids, I say, I greatly regret. Because why? I didn't know the outcome of it. So if it is clear, because in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned to us, وَلَا يَخَافُ عُقْبَاهَا, when Allah destroys nations, does not fear the outcome of it. Because Allah knows the outcome of it. You see. So how come when we read the Torah or when you read the Old Testament or even the Torah, Genesis 6:6, he said God regret for creating mankind. Likewise, when you look to Samuel, he says God greatly regret for choosing Saul as a king. We believe this is imperfection. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, the belief that you have and I have about God is correct. However, when you look to the scripture that you have, you go and guess what you believe.
Can I give you a parable to explain it? Imagine someone gives you like a very nice crystal vase, So and you go and smash it. So now these bits of glass they go and someone falls on them and gets injured.
Okay.
So is it my fault?
There's no fault.
But I gave it to you.
Yeah, but you never broke it.
So that's how we believe God created a perfect world.
Okay.
But some people they've got their own choice. They
have free will.
Free will.
Yes, I agree with that.
So it's like the glasses. When someone does something wrong, he's as if he's taking God's world and he's smashing it.
Okay, but what I'm saying here.
So that's why. So God, it was correct for him to create the world. But because of the choices man made, it turned out that was a bad thing. But God doesn't work, even though God knows the future. God doesn't work on the future.
No, please, brother, I'm speaking. You guys speak after. Because I don't to clarify, when I like to have a dialogue, I don't like 10 people to speak at the same time. Because we're gonna go everywhere. We're gonna go to China, then we're gonna go to Holland, then we go to different countries. But what I'm saying, I agree with you. That mankind, they have their own free will. But when you look to the context of the thing that I mentioned to you, is God regretting his own action, not God regretting what people did. God regrets choosing Saul as a king. The choosing is the action of God. God doesn't regret his action. Likewise, God regretting creating this again, God's action, not human's action. I'm saying God is perfect. God does not regret his actions. You see, as for human doing wrong and right, Allah mentioned in the Quran that clearly that the human, that Allah give them free will. نعم. وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله. نعم. That you have Allah affirmed that we have a will. نعم. نعم mean yes in Arabic. Yes. The point here is that give us clear indication that the way God been spoken about in the Old Testament is not. It's like they gave him attributes of deficiency, regretting. Likewise, God created God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. In the 7th day, rested and refreshed. And this we don't believe is the attribute of God, because resting. Before I finish, resting and refreshing is the attribute of human being. That's why Allah said in the Quran in Surah Qaf, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ وَمَا بَيْنَهُمَا فِي سِتَّةِ أَيَّامٍ وَمَا مَسَّنَا مِنْ لُغُوبٍ. The meaning of the verse that Allah mentioned, we have created. We again been used here. Doesn't mean it's 5. We mean the mighty. You see? So this is a side point, but just because we're talking about earlier on. So Allah mentioned we created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them in 6 days, and no fatigue overtouch us. The scholars of Islam, the likes of Imam ibn Uthaymeen and other than him from the scholars of Islam, mentioned that the reason Allah mentioned this in the Quran to refute those claim about him in the previous scriptures. Because we believe the previous scriptures was given from God to the prophets, however people changed it. So what I'm saying, to summarize again, the attributes that's been given to God in the Old Testament is not the attribute of the Most High.
But can I ask you something? What did God do? What did God do? What did God do?
I don't agree with it, but I said a good point.
What did God do on the 8th day? God created the world in 6 days. In 6 days. On the 7th, no. The Bible says on the 7th day he rested. And he refreshed, how you put it. What did he do? What did he?
It says refresh.
No, what you said. I'm saying the Bible
says refresh as well. Let me correct. Genesis said rest. But if you go to the other one, it says rested and refreshed. It says
so
that.
What did God do on the 8th day?
No, before you go tell me what God did on the 8th day, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ.
He's on the 7th day.
No. Let us focus on the 7th day, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every day.
Had another whole word to,
what I'm saying, so to cut you. What I'm saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned us in the Quran, Surah Al-Rahman, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Every day, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing stuff, thinking, Allah honor this, humiliate this, Allah create this, take life of this, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'am, subhanahu wa ta'ala mean, glorified be He. My point here is focus on rested and refreshed and regretting, which is the attribute of a human being, and is that from deficiency. Therefore, those who wrote the Bible, they gave deficiency to the Most High. So if they gave deficiency to the Most High, let alone what they said about the prophets.
Yeah, but it's not as if God created the world in 6 days and the world was created. Well, it's not as if he had to rest on Saturday or Sabbath because he had a whole nother work. He had a whole nother week to do. What did he do on the 8th day? Come to you.
He's on the 7th day.
What?
He's on the 7th
Please,
day.
I forgot his name. Astaghfirullah. Sam.
Yeah.
Sam. If I tell you, what is your name? Give me your name. Don't tell me let us drive Mercedes. That's not your name. So focus on what is your name, not Mercedes. Okay. My point here is, Sam, that the attributes that the writers of the Torah
and the answer your question with a question. Just answer me this question.
I told you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay, so I'll answer the question.
Okay, wait, let's go to the 8th day. We'll come back to the 7th.
Yeah, there's no idea.
On the 8th day, the next week, did God recreate the world? No.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
God had created the world in the first 6 days.
Okay.
So the 7th day, God doesn't need to rest.
God does not need to rest.
The Jews our Sabbath for a special day.
Okay.
God doesn't need to rest. It's not as if he had to create the world in another 6 days. He needed to gather up his energy. It was a spiritual day. It's a spiritual day. It's resting. It's not a physical thing. He rested because he needed to work the next week.
No, look to the context. Look, the context. God created the heavens and the earth, and that which is between them in 6 days. 7th day rested and refreshed.
His answer is resting is not.
Yeah, no, but
spiritual, that's his
no,
answer.
but it's incorrect. You know why? Because we look to the context. Let me look to the context.
It could be incorrect.
No, you know why? Because the context. Yeah, I like that. Is that the answer? The context. If I say I've been working for 6 days, 7th day rested.
But I'm
everyone think the reason I mentioned I rested in the 7th day because I got tired of the work which I've done in 6 days. But look to compare this statement in the Torah and compare Allah's statement in the Quran. ولقد خلقنا السماوات والأرض وما بينهما في 6 أيام وما مسنا من لغوب. We have created the heavens and the earth and that which is between them in 6 days, and no fatigue overcame us. Which one indicate is a perfect God?
What do you know? Fatigue came over us. It was us.
talking to God.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everyone's recording. No, bro. I say us. Okay. لغة, linguistically, in Arabic language, if you want to show your mighty and your power, you refer to yourself as a plural.
Yeah.
You understand that? Yeah, and royal plural. We say what? We say in Arabic language, you call it nun tafkhim.
Yeah.
The might of that. So my point here is, before we move on, which one gives indication that is a perfect God? The one who said
God was tired. God had worked for 6 days, so God was tired. So
you won.
Fatigue. No, you won.
No, he said no fatigue touch us. He didn't get tired. Not like as you claim in the Torah.
How do you? What's your version?
So his version is we did make the world in 6 days.
Yeah.
And now no fatigue.
No fatigue
overcame
kill us. The reason Allah mentioned that in the Quran, because Allah gave the books. Allah gave.
Do that.
You have tissue. No tissue.
It's okay.
It's okay, you're gonna. Well, the reason Allah mentioned that, as Imam Ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy upon him, one of the major scholars of our time, he said the reason Allah mentioned that in the Quran to refute the false claim about him that Allah rested. Allah is not in need of rest or refresh. That is the attribute of the creation. Likewise, regretting. You see what I'm saying? So my point to you is, what I'm saying, you believe in one God.
Yeah.
However, the God that you believe and we believe, he has deficiency, according to you. According to your book, not to you, because you already said God doesn't regret, because regret is imperfection. However, it's in your book. So now you have a problem.
It's in the Torah.
It's in the Torah and the Old Testament as well. It's in Samuel. So because the Torah has the 5 books. So now, how can you reconcile between what you just said, that God doesn't regret, and between in your book saying God regrets?
No, I just told the explanation that it was right for God to create man, but when it says regret, it's using it doesn't mean a literal regret. It's as if man had a choice. So if God obviously doesn't, God knows what you're gonna. Do you believe God knows what you're gonna do tomorrow?
يعلم خائنة الأعين وما تخفي الصدور. Allah knows what is in your heart and what your eyes. The blink of the eyes. Allah, نعم. Allah said أحاط بكل شيء علما, and Allah knows everything.
Yeah. So we've got a basic question. I'm sure you're in your religion also discuss it. If God knows what you're gonna do, then what's the point of you being around? God anyway knows what you're gonna do. That's
the side point. Let's deal with the point of regretting.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, God has
free will.
There's 2 points we have to talk about. Regretting and resting.
Yeah,
Which is about 1 point.
That's what I'm saying. Regret. So resting, clear cut. You're gonna whatever you're gonna explain. Because what you have to understand.
Let's leave
It's
gone.
Yeah. What you have to understand. Explaining things doesn't mean that it's correct.
Yeah,
because you can bring a murderer now and a killer and a rapist and you explain why he did it. You see what I'm saying? You like this point here. You can explain it, no doubt. So explaining things doesn't mean you're right. My point here is regretting. I'm not saying God regret because the man regrets. God regrets his own action. And when you regret your own action because you didn't know the outcome of it, that's why you regret it. And I gave you an example, and the example I gave you is exactly what has been mentioned in the Old Testament, that God chose Saul as a king. However, Saul turned on him. Then God told Samuel, I greatly regret for choosing Saul as a king. Therefore, God did know the outcome of Saul's action. And this is not what God I believe in, the perfect God. Because when we say, I say Subhana meaning in English language that Allah is far away from any imperfection. Do you understand this point?
Yeah.